symptoms of acne. We know that it occurs where the sebaceous glands are located in more concentration of the per centimeter square. We also know that there's different grades. We understand that the different grades taking place from grade 1 all the way to grade 5 when we have a deep cystic components. So the terminology, we really need to understand that the non-inflammatory does have an inflammation, because as soon as you have a plug, as soon as you have a comedogenic activity, we know that there is an inflammation taking place. So it is also important to understand the microbiota of the skin, to understand the microbiomes and how they actually have to live with the symbiosis. We need to understand the different microorganisms that live there in order to keep the skin's pH always at a healthy skin pH of 5.5. So we want to make sure that this sebaceous gland does not become hypertrophic, because if it does have an hypertrophic effect and accumulation of keratinocytes and corneocytes, we know that they will, it will cause a plug, and also the inflammation will take place. The Propionibacterium acne will take place, will multiply, and then there will be a pathogenic activity taking place. And that's what we want to slow down. So we can see in this presentation that, of course, at grade 1, we see that there's an open comedon blackheads, there's closed comedon, still in stage 1. In stage 2, there's a papule, where there's a combination of proliferation of the Propionibacterium acne. Number 3, we can see clearly that there's a pustules and papules taking place. Oops, sorry. Number 4, we see the nodules taking place, and at grade 5, we see the nodules and the combination of cysts, when really the sebaceous gland, really the infection is taking place into the interstitial tissue. And you will see that in this presentation. We're going to talk about prebiotic and probiotic and how it actually can impact your acne patients. So we all know that healthy skin's pH, in order for our microorganism to live in symbiosis, needs to be in a pH 5.5 when healthy, when the skin is healthy. We need the saprophyte, we need the good bacteria in order to have a sustainability or a good balance, right? And we know that we need the Propionibacterium acne. What we don't want is we don't want the proliferation, the multiplication of the Propionibacterium acne, because when it multiplies, that's when it affects the pH and automatically creates pimples, papules, and pustule, all the way to the cystic component. So we need to know the principle of healthy skin. So all these microorganisms needs to live in good balance. So we know that, of course, there's microbiota. We have the microbiomes. Microbiomes is a combination of what you see on the screen, which is your bacteria, your fungi, your mites, your yeast, which all of them we all need it, but in good balance. And of course, depending on our genetic heritage, it will be influential or maybe interfered. We know that there's 1,000 and more species living on our skin per centimeter square that will influence that balance. And we also know that all of us here have a different microbiota, so different microbiomes from our genetic heritage. This is why there's a lot of misunderstanding of now the new trend or fad about using probiotics onto products or into products. But the reality is that more and more studies are demonstrating that by adding new bacteria to the game, to this environment, we're actually maybe interfering with our own immune system. So this is why it's very interesting to understand that we should take few steps at a time, and maybe consider prebiotic, but not probiotic, unless they're oral probiotic, in order to balance your gut. So if your gut is balanced, there's a direct correlation with the flora, right? your microbiota, and of course all the different floras of your body, including vaginal wellness. So when the Propionibacterium acne is in balance, you can see on the screen, it's just normal. We need it in balance, but we don't want it to become pathogenic. We want it to not become a general infection. We want to be able to be in balance. And when infection takes place, unfortunately, it takes over all the different bacteria and it proliferates, it multiplies onto the skin. One of the biggest mistakes we do is disinfectation, when we disinfect the skin. When we use cleansers with sulfate, we actually interrupt that microbiota and the actual immune system that is necessary for our skin to be properly functioning. So our microbiotic peptides can be influenced depending on topical products that you're actually putting onto the skin. This is why the study of the skin when you create new products is very important to consider in order not to unbalance the skin. So prebiotic is a good thing. We have to study the prebiotic to feed the good bacteria on your skin, but not necessarily topical probiotic. And we know that from food, we can actually, of course, have a good gut, a good balanced gut, in order to feed the good bacteria over our entire body. We also know that probiotics that are healthy for our skin, I would say orally, seem to have a clear understanding that we can benefit from oral probiotic while you have the symptoms of acne. It could only benefit you, but not necessarily within a product. And within a product, you want to feed the good bacteria that lives on your skin, but not necessarily apply. Consultation is key, and this is why healthy skin, in order to prevent acne, needs to be also in this consideration. So the consultation is necessary, scrutinizing really the causes of acne in order to make a difference. There is different blood markers that also need to be analyzed when you have persistent cystic acne, when you're not achieving results. Today, with topicals, we can really see some improvement. So there's different skin evaluation devices that exist that could help us to define and, more importantly, prevent our skin treatments. So when you have a skin that's so beautiful like this one, you think, oh, she has a perfect skin. But in reality, if you really go further, you say, she has a platform of telangiectasia. Therefore, she may be prone to more of the Demodex folliculorum mite, which, sorry for the translator, which the Demodex folliculorum mite will cause acne rosacea, which is a different, of course, a pathogenic activity. So it's kind of nice to just have your measurement tools and making sure your skin is always within what I call the green zone. If it's in the green zone, you can see that in this case, when we have pores that are like bowls, the bowls, when not properly cleansed, they maintain all the bacteria and the pathogenic growth. So this is why it's important to make sure that you minimize the pores. It is our role to minimize the pores and to regulate the sebaceous gland so that we don't have this symptom occurring. Porphyrin. The more porphyrin you have, the more Propionibacterium acne you have, because this is a debris that the bacteria release. So you can see it with a Woods lamp as well. You can actually identify if you have too much Propionibacterium acne. And our role is to use bacteriostatic cleanser with prebiotic, like a micellar foam as an example. So you're not interfering with a product or a cleanser that would actually, like with sulfates, which is 98% of cleansers out there, that would actually interrupt that flora and really remove the good bacteria that is necessary for us to rebalance the skin. So we have different methods, and of course, taking documentation is one of the key elements in order to be successful. Not only for you, it's motivating, but also for the patient. They actually see the progress as they are using the treatment protocol, and you can measure each time, measure the improvement from one session to another. And if you have a skin, no matter which tools you use that has telangiectasia, you should look at the count of the mites, the Demodex follicularis mite, which is directly linked to acne rosacea. So it's important, it's motivating for clients to see with just topicals within a month how fast you can actually see results in today's environment. 95% of skincare products, cosmeceutical, will work on the keratinocytes and corneocytes, will not go beyond. So what we want to do is being able to get into the skin to make a difference. When you have acne rosacea, you have already a platform of redness. So one small tip for you. If your client have a tendency to flush and blush, and she has pimples, papules, and pustules, that is a sign that maybe there's a proliferation of the pathogenic activity of the mites. So you can see that acne rosacea has that a lot more count per centimeter square of the Demodex follicularis mite. So home care is necessary. I've been with this brand for 37 years. I'm happy to be here today with you to give you just a small insights of what's happening in the North American market. One thing we say is don't use more than 4 skincare steps in order to, make the client used to a skincare program. Nevertheless, you should use a method or a system that will have a delivery method so you're able to see the results with time. So for example, in Nelly DeVers, 37 years for me, we have a rosacea system. 4 steps, and you target the Demodex follicularis mite for sensitive skin, and you really have results. The new trends, in conclusion, the new trends are what? Everybody wants a green, a clean ingredients. Less than 60 chemicals available. So consumers are going on the internet, and especially the millennials, they are educated, and they don't want to find a product, a drug or medication that will actually have those chemical ingredients and affect them on a cumulative effect on long term. It is a $22 billion industry by 2024. So organic product is on the growth. Patients are coming to the physician's office, they want organic. But unfortunately, there's a lot of mislabeled. A lot of people claim it's natural, but when you look at the label, there's nothing natural in the product. So mislabeled, a lot of people are confused. They want organic, they know that it exists, but majority of time, it just sits at the surface of the keratinocyte, doesn't do any difference. There's a lot of greenwashing out there. So this is why, for the last few years, 5 European countries gathered together and developed an organization to protect consumer. So if you're not knowing about this organization, you should look it up, because your patients will be requiring an EcoCert certified Cosmos organic product. So it's a consumer protection. So it's a real big organization recognized in 120 countries that will protect you from all the different chemicals that exist onto a cosmetic products. And of course, it's making news. And Nelly DeVers was the first one to provide a drug, a medication, according to FDA and Health Canada, with a cosmeceutical component, but it's a medical claim. Therefore, anti-acne is a medical claim. The first anti-acne line in the organic certification world. So we're very excited to present it here in Ukraine. Consumers are looking for vegan, but it doesn't have to be vegan. What people are looking for is organic that have results. So of course, it's making news in the US. The dermatologists are now, prescribing organic certified formulation, and that works, that have the science behind. Still using forms of salicylic acid or magnolia, but salicylic acid from a willow bark extraction. So systems that are easy, 4 steps, 6 steps, that gives you results. These are the types of results you can achieve within less than 6 months in cases of cystic acne or papulopustule activity. So it's really trendy to have organic certification. Nelly DeVers is not the only brand in the world that has that. But of course, in the United States is very popular. It's been making a lot of news because it's clean ingredients and it's efficient compared to 95% of skincare that exist and actually, not necessarily provide you results. A lot of information. Thank you.
Thank you.